How to perform Inception on minds. Now, Inception is by far one of my most favourite movies of all time. I mean, the sheer complexity of the world it's set in, and the rich storyline that is morphed by it, definitely takes you on a powerful emotional journey that leaves you with a bit more than a tear in your eye, and a question that we all love to be answered. Now, the top definitely wobbled, man, trust me. Now, when I talk about the film Inception, the first thing that probably pops up in your mind is the word dreams. But just within the opening sequence of the film, we get to see what the film is actually more so about.
What is the most resilient parasite? Bacteria? A virus? An intestinal worm?
What Mr. Cobb is trying to say.
An idea. Resilient, highly contagious. Once an idea has taken hold of the brain, it's almost impossible to eradicate. An idea that is fully formed, fully understood, that sticks. Right in there somewhere.
What we're introduced to is that one of the most powerful concepts that our minds are able to construct are collections of ideas. And ideas that are fully understood are able to plant themselves in our subconscious and have the ability to govern our actions. The story takes us on a journey of seeing Cobb and his dream team implant an idea inside the mind of a billionaire businessman in order to get him to dismantle his company for political and business purposes. Now, you may be wondering, how the hell did they do that? And more so, is it something that is actually possible? Well, the answer is yes. Yes, it is. And the way you can do this is by using the 30th strategy of war. Penetrate their minds. The communication strategy. Communication is a kind of war. Its field of battle, the resistant and defensive minds of the people you want to influence. The goal is to advance, to penetrate their defenses and occupy their minds. Anything else is ineffective communication, self-indulgent talk. Learn to infiltrate your ideas behind enemy lines, sending messages through little details, luring people into coming to the conclusions you desire, and into thinking that they've gotten there by themselves. Some you can trick by cloaking your extraordinary ideas in ordinary forms. Others, who are more resistant and dull, must be awoken with extreme language that bristles with newness. At all cost, avoid language that is static, preachy, and overly personal. Make your words a spark for action, not passive contemplation.
Inception. Is it possible?
Of course not.
If you can steal an idea from someone's mind, why can't you plant one there instead?
Okay, here's me planning an idea in your head. I say to you, don't think about elephants. What are you thinking about?
Elephants.
Right, but it's not your idea because you know I gave it to you. The subject's mind can always trace the genesis of the idea. True inspiration's impossible to fake.
It's not true.
Yes, what Arthur's saying is right. When you try to plant an idea in someone's mind, the person can always trace the true origin of where that idea came from. And once they recognise that the idea isn't theirs, they typically won't take action, as it doesn't come from a genuine place of their own true inspiration. But even if they do take action on it, it will only be reluctantly so, and it rarely would inspire true change. This is like telling a kid to go clean their room. Yes, after they try to put it off multiple times, they may eventually clean their room. But if it's not done from a place of genuine authenticity, then the room is inevitably going to get messy again, which results in an endless cycle of telling the child to go clean their room, which is by far one of the most inefficient ways of communicating. The whole endgame of the communication strategy and Inception is to get someone to do what you want them to do. But the difference is, in order to execute it effectively, is that it has to be because that they want to do it, not because they're told to do it. And that's point number one when it comes down to Inception. The whole art of delivering powerful and effective communication is to make the subject feel as if it came from within themselves. You want them to feel as if the idea came from inside them and you want them to take action upon that idea from a place of genuine authenticity. Research and studies in neuroscience show it is our subconscious mind that drives the majority of the actions we take. It's alleged that 95% of our purchasing and spending habits is all given thanks to our subconscious mind, communicating to our conscious mind via emotion. And by knowing this fact, we can now understand the such importance of why the Dream Team concentrates so much on emotion when it comes to performing Inception, as that is what the subconscious mind actually thrives upon.
Let me ask you something. Have you done it before?
We tried it. We got the idea in place, but it didn't take.
You didn't plant it deep enough?
No, it's not just about depth. You need the simplest version of the idea in order for it to grow naturally in your subject's mind. And it's a very subtle art. And what you have to do is start at the absolute basic.
Which is what?
The relationship with the father.
So in order to effectively communicate ideas and perform Inception successfully, the target that you are facing, whether that's your team, your customers, or your enemies, should be of their subconscious mind, rather than their conscious mind. And the way you do that is by translating whatever idea you want to incept into a strong emotional concept. And that is step 2.
Subconscious is motivated by emotion, right? Not reason. We need to find a way to translate this into an emotional concept.
How do you translate a business strategy into an emotion?
That's what we're here to figure out, right?
Now remember, in order to perform true Inception effectively, you need not only translate your idea into an emotional concept, but you need to ensure that they come to that conclusion themselves. So how do you do that? Well, this is where the third step comes in, which is where your job enters. You are the one that needs to guide them through it. It isn't your job to tell the person what the idea is, but it's to subtly guide them to a place to where they can figure it out for themselves.
Of the dream, I can impersonate Browning and suggest concepts to Fisher's conscious mind. Then, when we take him a level deeper, his own projection of Browning should feed that right back to him.
So he gives himself the idea.
Precisely. It's the only way it will stick. It has to see himself generated.
Eames, I am impressed.
And the fourth and final step is to ensure that the emotional concept that the person arrives to is not just a simple lesson. In order to really effectively perform Inception, you need to put the subject through an emotional transformative experience. The more emotional and more powerful the experience is, the more you increase your chances of the idea cementing firmly in their minds.
On the top level, we open up his relationship with his father. Say, I will not follow in my father's footsteps. Then the next level down, we feed him. I will create something for myself. Then by the time we hit the bottom level, we bring out the big guns.
My father doesn't want me to be him.
Exactly.
The reason for this is because in order to teach people a lesson or to incept any idea, you need to alter their behavior. You must alter their experience, aim at their emotions, inject unforgettable images into their minds, and shake them up. Unless you are supremely eloquent, then it's very hard to accomplish this through simple words and direct expression. Instead, you must learn to fight indirectly and unconventionally, tricking people into lowering their defenses, hitting their emotions, altering their experience, dazzling them with images, powerful symbols, and visceral sensory cues. When you bring your subject back to a childlike state, where they are more vulnerable and fluid, the communicated idea penetrates deep behind their defenses.
I know you were disappointed. I couldn't be you.
No. I was disappointed that you tried.
Now, this isn't to say that words don't have power. It just means that your ways of communicating must be more strategic and based in knowledge of fundamental psychology. What really changes us in our behaviour is not the actual words uttered by someone else, but by our own experience. Something that comes not from without ourselves, but from within. This is how the Dream Team were able to execute Inception perfectly on Fisher. Because they didn't tell him what to think. What they did was subtly suggest and indirectly guided Fisher into a certain direction, and let his own subconscious give himself the idea by creating a powerful emotional experience for him to go through. They bring Fisher back to his childhood, where the mind is typically less defensive and more impressed by sounds, images, actions, and a world of pre-verbal communication. This is what makes the experience so effective. As to create an emotional experience, it requires a kind of language composed of actions, all strategically designed to affect people's moods and emotions, which is what us humans can typically least control. And this is the whole strategy behind performing Inception. The whole concept is that if you want to communicate an idea, you mustn't preach it. Instead, you make the subject connect the dots and come to the conclusion themselves. Make them internalize the thought of what you're trying to communicate. Make it seem to emerge from their own minds. Create a transformative and emotional experience for them to go through, and help guide them through to their end destination, to where you then take a step back and let your subject's subconscious do the rest. It's only what stirs deep within us, taking root in our minds as thought and experience, is what has the power to truly change what we do in any lasting way. What you need to pay attention to is not simply the content of your communication, but the form, the way you lead people to the conclusions you desire, rather than telling them the message in so many words. If you want someone to change a bad habit, for example, a much more effective way than simply trying to persuade them to stop it is to show them, perhaps mirroring how annoying the habit feels to other people. If you want to make people with a low self-esteem feel better about themselves, don't just tell them to cheer up. Instead, guide them to feel something more tangible, giving them a real transformative experience. That emotional experience that they will go through will translate into a much deeper feeling of confidence. Such indirect maneuvers have the power to penetrate deep behind people's defenses. Communication is a form of warfare. I mean, you may have brilliant ideas, the kind that may revolutionize the world, but unless you're able to express them effectively, then you will have no force, no power to enter people's minds in a deep and lasting way. You must focus not on yourself, but on your audience, as intently as a general focuses on the enemy he is strategizing to defeat. And that is how you can successfully perform Inception on someone's mind, by creating a transformative experience for your subject to go through. Don't tell them the idea directly, but guide them down that experience to make them feel it, letting them come to the conclusion of the idea themselves. Lower their defenses by connecting them back to their childhood, and watch the magic occur right before your eyes. And that is what is going to grant you more power in your life and in the world of business, and help you take that step to becoming that much more strategic thinker. Now, like with all character breakdowns we do on the channel, I try to focus on what powerful strategies and principles that we can learn from these characters in order to be able to think that bit more strategically, whether that's in life or business. And if you are interested in learning more about these strategic strategies and principles that I cover, then make sure you click the link in the description to sign up for our newsletter. I always get asked to go in much deeper into more principles and strategies, but there is only so much that I can talk about in one YouTube video. That's why for over a year now, I've been non-stop working on something that is going to absolutely blow you away. I mean, you think you learn a lot about the character breakdowns that I do now? Well, think again, because when I launch what I've been working on for you, I can tell you, it is going to put you on that journey to becoming that master strategic thinker that you've always wanted to be. So if you are interested in what I've been working on, make sure you click the link in the description to sign up for our newsletter, as I will be announcing something on there much sooner than you think. And if you like this video, make sure you smash that like button and leave a comment below on what your thoughts and feelings are about Inception. Comment some of your favourite lessons and quotes from the film, and let me know what film or character breakdown would you like to see next. And if you are new to the channel, welcome to the channel, and to all our loyal subscribers, we are glad you are here. We do some of the best character breakdowns on the whole of YouTube, and we aim to produce at least one high quality animated video per week, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any golden knowledge. I'll see you soon.